Okay? It's not the definitive factor. Okay? Offers must be communicated to the offeree. Okay. This is something that kind of falls from the tree, like the apple on Newton. Okay? Which means that in order for you to accept an offer, somebody has to give you the offer. The examples that the books give, not yours because yours is a little bit lacking in examples, but generally the examples that the books give is someone who's being told that they're going to be given an offer, either for employment or for the sale of some property, and that communication comes from a third party that learned about it. And that person rushes to the phone and says, I accept. And the question is, do they now have the power to accept? Even though the offerer was going to communicate the offer, it was never communicated, and the answer is no. The communication must come to the offeree by the offeror directly. Okay? If not, the power, and really we're looking at the power to accept, is not there. Okay? So think about offer and acceptance as the conveyance of a power, and think, who can convey the power? The offerer is the one that's conveying the power, not a third party letting you know that that power is coming your way. Okay. Invitation to make offers. Apparent offers aren't all true offers. An invitation to make an offer. When you receive in the newspaper, or when you get a flyer that says, there is this special at Walmart. Okay? They look like offers. They feel like offers. You know, detergent at $2.99. You come and you say, I accept. So give me the detergent. Those are considered not as offers, even though they look and they feel like offers. Those are considered to be invitations to offer, which means that Walmart is saying, if you come and you offer me $2.99, and I have the detergent, I will sell it to you. But you must first show up. If I don't have it, I won't sell it to you. Because otherwise, think about the legality of it. Let's imagine that, let's not imagine. Let's think about Christmas. In Christmas, whether it is Apple or other manufacturers, intentionally create a shortage, right? Whether it's the Xbox that's coming out, they don't send as many Xboxes, they don't send as many iPhones in order to create demand. So imagine if Walmart publishes that they're going to sell this product and you show up and you say, I accept. But when you say I accept, you've in essence sealed the deal, because I've conveyed to you as the offerer the power to accept, and they don't have it. Then there would be every year during Christmas time an infinite number of people that sue Walmart for breach of contract. You made the offer, I accepted it before you rejected it, and you didn't give me the Xbox. How dare you not? So the law understands this. So with regards to advertisement is considered to be an invitation inviting you to become the offeror, which then gives them the ability to say yes or no. So remember, the offeree has the power to accept. If they've only invited you to make an offer, then when you make the offer by showing up and saying, where's my Xbox? They can either say, I don't have it, so I can't sell it to you, I won't. And you don't have a cause of action because you never had a contract. Okay? If one of the parties in a contract fails to meet their obligation, it conveys to the other party the right to sue them. So it's important to determine who's got the power to accept, such as advertisement, window displays, and catalogs are invitations to offer. The offerer may revoke an offer at any time before its acceptance. An option cannot be revoked. Let's talk about the duration and what we call an option contract. Okay? Many of you, as you go along, might want to buy some real property. You want to buy a house, you want to buy a condo, you want to buy an apartment. But because you're young and now entering into the workforce fairly soon, you may not be able to afford it. And you may find someone that wants to sell their apartment, their condo, their house, and can't find somebody to buy it. They may make you this offer. If you will lease it for a period of 5 years, on the 5th year, I will give you the option to buy it, and all of the rent that you paid for that period of time will go towards, or 80% of the rent, or 60% of the rent, will go towards the purchase price. You wanted to buy and not rent, but you couldn't afford it. This looks like a great deal. But it isn't a great deal if the offerer has the ability on the 5th year to say, hey, that was an offer, and as the offerer, I have the right to take it away at any time. So, psych, I'm not selling you the property. Okay? So there has to be certain rules that apply to that, and these are them. An offeror can withdraw an offer at any time, unless the offer is supported by independent consideration. In other words, if you offered me something in exchange for me keeping it open, then now I have the duty to keep it open. In those sorts of option contracts, you are offering me to rent for 5 years. You didn't have to rent with me. You could have rented any place else. The fact that you rented with me for 5 years is consideration for keeping the offer open. And therefore, I can't reject it. So, an offer that is supported by consideration to keep it open for a period of time is sufficient. Okay? So, if you go to a car dealership and you say, listen, I don't have the money right now to buy it, but if you keep this offer open for another 24 hours, I will give you, $100. I'll give you $1. As long as there's some consideration to keep the offer open, it has to stay open. The offers that can be rejected at any period of time are the offers where the offeree hasn't given anything in exchange for keeping it open. As long as I've given you something to keep it open, or agree not to do something for keeping it open, then the offer has to stay open. Any questions with regards to this? Again, we're looking at the power to accept. We're looking at the power to accept and the rules that either give it to one side or give it to the other. A revocation of an offer must be communicated to the offeree prior to acceptance. Obviously, the moment that you say, I accept, and in Pawn Stars, the way that, in American Pickers, the way that they do it is they shake hands. The moment that that acceptance is there, the other party can no longer say, I changed my mind. Because the moment that there's an acceptance, there's a contract. The moment that there's an acceptance to an offer, a contract exists. And that contract cannot be liquidated, cannot be terminated, except by its terms or its completion. So it's very important, once the offeree says, I accept, that's it. Both sides are now bound. Okay? An offer is terminated by the lapse of the time specified in the offer. Now, remember, I can withdraw my offer at any time. But if I say I'm going to keep it open for 24 hours, and you've taken 25 hours, even though I didn't have to keep it open, on the 25th hour, the offer's closed. So if I've given you a certain period of time within which to accept, what I'm basically saying is, I may or may not keep it open, but beyond that time, you no longer have an offer. I may or may not keep it open, but after that time, you no longer have the power to accept. You're going to see a lot of those in real estate contracts. Okay? When you're offering to buy a house, the way that it's done, I was filling out for a client yesterday, a real estate purchase agreement. Okay? And I use a standard agreement that's created by lawyers and brokers. And in the standard agreement, at the very bottom, it says, once the offeror, the buyer, says, I offer to buy your house for this amount of money, at the very bottom it says, this offer will stay open for 48 hours after it's been given. The moment that they give it, an invisible clock starts going. During that 48 hours, they can call them and say, look, I take it back. But if my clients don't call the potential seller and say, I take it back, 48 hours later, they haven't accepted, the offer's gone. What does that mean? Well, there's no offer on the table. If my client wants to continue with that offer, they can call back and say, I'll give you extra time. If not, then the seller can't call them back 3 days later and say, you know, I accept your offer. Well, the offer by its terms was canceled. Okay? Now, this seems to be kind of commonsensical, right? If somebody makes an offer and you die, are you forced to buy the property?
No, no.
You offer to buy a field. You die. Do you still have to buy the field? The real answer is who cares, right? Because you're already dead. We can force you to do anything. But your estate, which is a legal thing that exists after you die, isn't bound by that offer because the law says that once the offeror or the offeree passes away and there is no contract, remember, we're looking for a meeting of the minds, right? We're looking for a meeting of the minds. If one of the minds is gone, can you have a meeting of the minds? No. Okay? Death or insanity. Again, insanity is the same thing. Again, for many of you who wrote the extra credit, think about insanity. Insanity doesn't mean a mental condition. It means that the individual no longer has the ability to understand what they're doing. Okay? They might have a brain tumor. They still understand what they're doing. They may have Alzheimer's, and they go through a lucid moment. They know what they're doing during that period of time. So under those circumstances, the offer might still exist. But generally, insanity takes away the ability because there's no longer the ability to meet minds. Okay? And that's the requisite, that's the necessary, that's the important element to determine whether a contract exists or not. Okay? Rejection of offer by the offeree and communication of the rejection to the offeror terminates the contract. Now, if you say I reject, if you say I don't want it, that by its nature, and everybody in this room understands that. No, I'm not going to do it. Okay, that's a rejection. And those aren't the difficult ones. The difficult ones is when you take an action that's contrary. You haven't said, I don't. But you take an action that's contrary to you accepting it. That action might by itself be a rejection. In other words, somebody says, I offer to sell you this for $100. And you say, no, but would you take 50? Or you don't have to say no. You say, would you take 50? That action rejects the offer, which means that you no longer can say to them, I'll buy it for the $100, because you've already rejected it. So you have to be very careful with, after an offer has been communicated, you have to be very careful with regards to the action that you take or the words that you say. Now, there are situations where you can explore. Say somebody's selling a motorcycle, and they're offering to sell you the motorcycle for $500. But you think you need to repair it, you need to paint it, it's a good deal, and you're willing to spend the $500, but you want to explore the possibility that you can get it for a lot less. How do you do it and not reject the offer? Because if you reject it, the person might say, I'm not going to sell it to you. You could say, you know, I'm not going to reject your offer, but would you consider to sell it for, if you make it clear that you're only exploring the possibility that they would take less, you still maintain the right to say, okay, I'll buy it for that. Okay? But willy-nilly saying no, or willy-nilly making a counteroffer might take away from you the right to say, no, I accept your original offer. Okay? Which means that if it's something that you think it's a good deal, they might sell to somebody else. Okay? If the performance of the contract becomes illegal, the offer is terminated. This is simple. You know, if killing today is legal and you can offer to kill someone,